Something I don't think I've shared before on this channel is that sometimes I struggle with loneliness. And in this video, I want to talk about loneliness and give you some tips on how you can modify your Thai massage treatments to address and help people who are struggling or dealing with loneliness in their lives. Just before I do that, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel and click on the bell so that you get notifications every time I post a new video. So let's talk about loneliness. One of the inspirations for making this video is a podcast I was listening to called A Slight Change of Plans by Maya Shankar, and she was interviewing the Surgeon General of the United States, and his name is Vivek Murthy. Vivek Murthy is really a fascinating individual. He was not only the Surgeon General when President Obama was in charge. President Biden appointed him the Surgeon General as well. He's an MD, and he became an expert on loneliness, and he wrote a book about it called Together that I will post a link to down in the show notes down below. It's a fascinating conversation, and the two of them share some eye-opening information about loneliness. For example, he presents some research that discusses how more people struggle with loneliness than have diabetes in the United States. He talks about how it not only increases the risk of anxiety and depression, but also heart disease and dementia. In fact, he mentions that there are excellent studies that show that the impact of loneliness on our mortality is the equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and that loneliness has a greater impact on our mortality than obesity or substance abuse. One thing that he mentioned that is so poignant is that the emotional pain that we feel from loneliness, on a physiological level, it registers in our brain the same way as pain would if we were injured in our body. And when you start to look at it that way, you can see that it is a true public health risk, because when we're lonely, it can last for days, weeks, even years, and that kind of pain and stress that we're putting on our body, well, it's no wonder that we can also have increased risks of mortality and a whole host of other diseases as a result. So what is loneliness? Loneliness is a subjective term. It's very personal, and what it's all about is about the connections that we have, and that the connections that we feel that we need do not match the actual amount of connections that we have in our life. And so in that gap, there is loneliness. And in my opinion, it's not only about the lack of quality connections with other people. We have this epidemic of loneliness in our society because of a lack of connection with ourselves. And in the West, where we are encouraged to be individuals in society, to always be striving and outwards and going for it and working harder and harder and harder, I think it's fair to say that most, if not all of us, struggle with loneliness at some point in our lives. And yet I was thinking about it, and I think it's very interesting that I don't think I've had even one Thai massage client, and now I'm going on to my third decade of practice, which has come to me talking about they're here because they are dealing with loneliness. And yet I think one of the reasons that Thai massage works as well as it does is because not only does it address acute pain and issues and misalignments in the body like sore shoulders and necks and backs and all of that, it works on a very deep level. And in this way, whether it's intentional or not, it very much supports and addresses issues of loneliness. And one of the reasons that it does that is because at its root, really the first principle of Thai massage, everything that I teach and everything that I give in a Thai massage is all built on a platform of loving kindness and compassion and mindfulness. And when we give the massage from that intentional place, well, then that helps people to be seen, to feel heard, to really feel connected. And I even think that, again, whether we intend it or not, it's like some of the weight that we carry that comes from those feelings of loneliness, and then therefore some of that pain that we talked about that people experience literally as physical pain in our body organically and naturally lift. But at the same time, we can be much more intentional about it and think to ourselves, well, how do we treat for loneliness? And one thing I think I'm alluding to here is that there's no magic place to press on the body necessarily that's going to lift a feeling of loneliness. In fact, I think the number one thing that we can do is to tap into loving kindness and compassion. And the way we do that at a really profound level is by cultivating and knowing empathy. And so I think one of the most important things that you can do to help people with their loneliness is to work on yourself and to acknowledge if you are facing loneliness. And when you are in that crisis or really feeling that overwhelm that loneliness can really bring, then to see that actually as an opportunity to slow down, to learn, to feel it, to grow, to talk to people about it, maybe to meditate about it. I know that when I'm feeling those big feelings of loneliness, it's really hard. And it's hard to even notice and acknowledge, wow, it's like 1 minute everything was fine, and now this feeling of loneliness may be coming upon me or has come upon me. But when I feel that loneliness happen, what I try to do, and I've gotten much better at it, is to prioritize self-care. I will take a walk, for example. I will catch my breath. I will be intentional with feeling into my body. I may stretch. I may call someone that I love and care about and reach out to them and see how they're doing and nurture myself and care for myself. And so those are just some of the things that I do on a regular basis when those feelings of loneliness come up for me. And what I've noticed as far as giving the massage, what that has done for my ability to give an incredible quality of touch is that it literally, it's like you feel the love, you feel the kindness, you feel the compassion, you feel a certain quality of energy that flows in you, in your hands, in your body, in your knees, in your feet. And these are all the parts of our body and more that we use to give a massage. So when that is flowing freely and you are connecting and touching and massaging from that place, then it is felt so profoundly and so deeply in your clients. I think that self-care, another way that it really benefits how you massage is that you start to release and let go, and then it becomes a thing in the past around having judgment about anything that your clients may be going through. And instead, like I mentioned, you are a lot more organically empathetic for their situation. Now, as far as some specific techniques and specific things that you can do to really amp up this quality of love and compassion and care that you're going to transfer into your massage, I think the number one thing is what is called sweeping. And so sweeping is literally this kind of motion in the massage. And so it can be a technique in and of itself. So literally taking some time at the start of a massage to sweep their head, their neck, their shoulders, to make gentle circles around their sternum or their abdomen, or if they were lying face down, right in the back of their heart as well. And as you do that, you breathe. And if you happen to be comfortable to lead it, you can even give a little gentle guided meditation, some nice comforting words, some nice ways to help people, again, connect with themselves, to get into their body, to feel. And I think that is part of it, because when we feel lonely, it's like we don't want to feel that pain, and that's our first impulse. And we have to recognize that that's an impulse, but if we stay in that place, well, then we are creating, actually the environment for that loneliness to build and maybe get even worse. It may hurt, it may feel bad for a few moments to feel the loneliness, but once you are more in touch with your body, once you make space, then loneliness, it's energy, and it has space to lift and to be lifted from your body. So that's why those nice, gentle sweeps and kind words that may guide people to feel that in their body and then make that space, and you're also helping to make that space for that loneliness to release. And if you were to sense that they are dealing with some issues of loneliness as part of your massage, then not only would I suggest incorporating all that sweeping in the massage, I posted a video not too long ago which was a massage for treating headaches, and a lot of the same techniques that I give in that massage I think would apply very well here. So I'm going to post a link to that up above. But in a nutshell, the way that massage goes is to spend a lot of good time massaging the neck and the shoulder area. You know, it's like where we hold the weight of the world and the weight of our own pressure and the weight of our own judgment and pain that we feel in our body. A lot of it is held in our neck and shoulders and heart area. So we want to massage that area, and we want to give the head and the temples and the scalp a really nice massage as well, and maybe down the arms as well. And then continuing there, it would be to draw energy down the body. So massaging the legs or the feet in different ways that you may know how to do. And I can help you out with that by posting some more links down below to see how to massage the legs and the feet as well. So you can check that out in the show notes down below. But the point is that we want to help people move from being too much in their heads to being more in touch with their body. And I just talked about one of the benefits of that is that it actually will put us more in touch with that sense of loneliness that we may be feeling, to make space for it to actually release. And then in our body is also all that quality of love and care and feeling supported and held that we need to experience in ourselves before we can feel that out in the world more. And that really is how we get to the root causes and the root cures of loneliness. So when we do that in a loving way, when we help people to feel their body in just a healthier way, and we bring their energy down into their body while they're feeling that love, well then, again, on that deep energetic level, we're helping to heal and work out and work through that loneliness. And so that brings me to my final points, which is that a really core component of how I teach and how I want to offer this massage is that not only are we addressing the physical aches and issues in the body when a client comes to see us, the role that we want to play is to see our clients as the most amazing person that they are. And we want to create highly customized treatments that address them as that holistic person, as that whole person. And so working with energy at the same time that we address those physical aches and issues, that's really how we accomplish that. So when you are giving that massage for loneliness, you know, one of the concepts that I teach is the idea of opposites heal. And so I just gave an example of it, that when we feel the loneliness, we're up here, we're separated from our body. And so an opposite of that is that we want to be in touch with our body, and we want to bring energy from up here at our head down into our body. And another one to consider is to create a nurturing quality of the massage, to feel that love. And you know, when we're so outwardly moving and motivated and working so hard, then we can be separated from that, both in ourselves, and then we don't think about how important it is to cultivate that in our relationships. In fact, in the podcast, that was a big aha moment for the Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, in his first tour of duty when he was working with President Obama. He was in a big crisis of loneliness because he just felt he had to work so hard, and he worked so hard that he sacrificed his relationships with his family and with his friends, and he felt completely disconnected with it. So what I take from that is that, you know, when you're in that place, it's really then we beat ourselves up. And he talked about it. You know, he had a close conversation or a deep conversation with one of his friends who really said, you know what, you may think that they don't want to have anything to do with you, but I bet that's not true. So why don't you reach out to those friends? So he did, and he resumed those deep relationships. And in his second tour of duty with President Biden, he's doing great work, but it's not at the sacrifice of those deep relationships. And similarly, helping to create and cultivate nurturingness and to feel that deep quality of love and knowing that you're nurtured and cared for in your own body, then that is an impulse that can give you the direction to reach out to people and to engage in the outward connections that we need to have to combat and work through loneliness. So again, what we do for ourselves on the inside really helps to support the outside, and energy helps with all of that. So gentle twists, gentle circles on the abdomen, gentleness around the lower back. It's this area of the body that, if we can support here, creates that feeling of nurturing and support. So I encourage you to work on that as well. And if you want more support on this, then I also have a program called Transformational Time Massage, where a lot of these concepts that I'm mentioning, I dig deeply into all of it. And because that is my certification, coaching, and mentoring program with time massage, so not only do I get you trained in all these techniques, but then we have live training for life, really, that supports you as you put it all into practice and take it all to the next level. And when we're talking about treatments like loneliness, I think it is so important to have that guidance, to have that support, and to cultivate the kinds of personal practices that help you to work on yourself while you're helping to work on others. I want to wish you just an amazing day, some incredible massages, and we'll talk to you real soon.